Stephen, usually this is just a free agent Friday, but I would say you've been infatuated with the idea of a certain center playing on the PHNX Suns who is not a free agent but feels attainable from the Brooklyn Nets. He's been a part of almost all of our trade machine Tuesdays, Thursdays, Wednesdays, whenever we've done the trade machine. It's Nic Claxton. So let's take a look at Nic Claxton's numbers for the season and dive into why he might be the perfect fit for the Suns currently and long-term. 10.3 points per game, 7.4 rebounds per game, 2.2 assists per game, shooting 56% from the field, just under a steal per game, and just under a block and a half per game. Nic Claxton, the best defender on this list. Stephen, the youngest player on this list. Is he your absolute pie-in-the-sky dream starting center for the Suns next season?
No, he's not.
Wow. Who is?
Pie-in-the-sky dream starting center is Jaren Jackson Jr.
Okay. Is he number 2?
How viable, realistic is that? I don't know. Remains to be seen. But yes, Nic Claxton is very much number 2 and obviously has the most clear outlet and avenue to potentially attaining his talent. So we'll shoulder the other conversation for another time, potentially going forward. But yes, Nic Claxton and everything that he brings offensively and defensively is everything that the Suns have targeted and said that they want to have at that center position.
It toes the line between the retool and the competing now, because he is on the younger side, but he's not a rookie. He's not in the first couple of years, in the league. And he's at this point in Brooklyn where it feels like his time has just run dry. There's always this point with players in the league where you feel like you've made a good run with that team. He's had some top point finishes, obviously not taking home the award, but still somebody who's been in the top 10. Been a versatile defender for Brooklyn, has seen a lot of different types of teams come through there, has proven that he can play alongside high-powered offensive talent, and he's had to play alongside some pretty low-tier teams as of late. What is it about Nic Claxton and Devin Booker's game that mesh so well together in your mind?
The complementary dynamics that he has. So if you have a guard that gets the attention that Devin Booker does in the multiple contexts of play that he does, can you have a center that might not necessarily be a spacer, but understand spacing and how to play in a complementary way off of that? So if Devin Booker's getting double teamed, 4-on-3s are abundant underneath that double team. If you get it to the center, how quickly does he process that 4-on-3 to make decisions? How comfortable is he with his handle, with his passing, with his finishing ability? You look at all of those things and you look at how comfortable that player is in that context of play. If you lump him in with the other 4 names we've talked about all podcast, he is by leaps and bounds better than each of those players in terms of making quick decisions, being effective and efficient as a finisher below the free throw line with floaters, obviously providing vertical spacing to dunk on guys by his own will from their short roll. How many times did we see a Suns center catch a short roll pass, take one dribble, and just go dunk on somebody instead of trying to lay up through contact or make a quick decision pass or put up a soft touch floater? All of these things I'm speaking to, Nic Claxton does in spades, and it's not like he does it and it's a one-off every 7 or 8 possessions. This is something that you could get every single possession. And if you're talking about hand-in-glove fits and fitting puzzle pieces together, of someone that complements everything Devin Booker brings on offense is Nic Claxton. But I bring one weakness that he has to improve on. All of the stuff that he does is great that I just got done speaking to, and he can do more with the ball in his hands without Devin Booker setting the table for him. The big weakness for him is screen setting, though. He is a decent screener, but sometimes he doesn't get the contact that's needed. Now, the rebuttal to my weakness that I'm identifying is that sometimes you don't have to set a screen for Devin Booker because he's getting double teamed, he's getting blitzed. So if he's getting blitzed, whether it's a flat hedge or that center that's guarding Claxton is going out to double team him and get the ball out of his hands, you don't have to set a screen there. You just need to be present yourself for the short roll pass, and then you kind of go from there. So that's kind of the gist of him on offense. We didn't talk about the defensive side yet, but to answer that question, he fits better next to Devin Booker than any of the centers that we just got done speaking to because of those things I mentioned.
I love it when you start debating yourself.
It's
You're
not
like in a counterpoint to what I just brought up.
I just like to make sure I'm bringing up all.
You bringing up like the both sides of it. I found that fascinating. The defense feels like it speaks for itself, and we'll get to that in a second. Do you feel like Nic Claxton is an underrated passer?
1,000%. And I think that if he's put in an ecosystem that has a hub for offense like Devin Booker and potentially Kevin Durant, that's where you put him in a position to be as successful as he can possibly be. That passing ability, that's just in addition to, now becomes something that you can really dictate to your opponents with.
Well, and you mentioned the double teams with Book. What I'm imagining is all this attention goes to Book. He gets it to Claxton, who's maybe on a short roll or something operating on the mid-range area. And Ryan Dunn, who's a great cutter, is cutting off the wing or cutting off of the corner, which we saw him do a lot with his instincts in rising up for the dunk. You know, Claxton being able to make that pass and that read there or shoot it out to an open three-point shooter, whether it is an Allen or a Royce O'Neal who's still there, or if it is somebody else like a Kevin Durant when all the attention is taken off of that as well. I think the passing element is so important because we saw that when Jusuf Nurkic was at his peak at the center position with the Suns, is that his passing was very valuable when he wasn't trying to do too much in that first year in Phoenix. With Claxton, he doesn't try to force it. And to be able to get 2.2 assists per game with the group that was around him in Brooklyn, where even the ones who could score were the type to score out of isolation situations like a Cam Thomas. Getting 2.2 assists per game out of that position, I find actually massively impressive for Nic Claxton.
And that speaks to the versatility part. So we talk about him playing complementary off of Booker. He can also play two-man with anybody. He can do that in dribble handoff scenarios and things like that. He can literally bring the ball up the court after he's grabbing rebounds because he's that skilled and make quick decisions, or just put pressure on the rim himself. When was the last time the Suns had a center that could do that? Take your time with that because it's going to take a while, because you're not going to find anyone that's able to do that. Also, he's very good with invert pick and rolls. So think about traditional pick and rolls, guard getting a screen from a big. He can receive those screens from a guard and put pressure on the rim in that way. So imagine he grabs a rebound, and now instead of him setting screens for Devin Booker or finding a way to outlet it to Devin Booker, he tells Devin Booker, go fill the lane, comes down the court that same side as Devin Booker. Devin Booker comes up and sets a screen for him. What do you do as a defense? Are you going to double team Claxton? I would hope not, but you have to at least show to make sure that he's not able to turn the corner. So that's essentially a double team. Now Devin Booker just popped. We're 18 seconds into the shot clock. Claxton hits Devin Booker. Now he has an option of a wide open three. He has a closing defender, or he has that next help defender that's stepping over for him. Now imagine this Kevin Durant that's one pass away from Devin Booker. Who's shooting a wide open three at that point?
Realistically, I think that if you're getting Nic Claxton on this team, it's going to be somehow involved in some kind of KD trade or something like that. It's hard for me to imagine those two on the team at the same time together. Now, maybe it's possible, and that's just me being a cynic. That would be an amazing fit defensively, those two together.
If you get off of the Bradley Beal contract, find someone to – that's the – whole nother podcast.
Yeah, well, that's like about every goddamn podcast that we do at this point is, oh, well, what if they can get off of Bradley Beal? Oh, wait, they can't do it.
Yeah.
We did actually go through some trades yesterday. You and Espo did. I recorded a couple for you guys about potential deals, and I did get rid of Bradley Beal in one of those trades. So that could be something that's possible there. I do love Nic Claxton as a player. I think the fit here is ideal out of all these players, obviously, because A, he's under contract, and B, he's the best. It's the longest shot, in my opinion, out of any of these players we talked about today, but that long shot is worth it. And if they're able to swing it as a long-term center partner next to Devin Booker on both sides of the ball, because we didn't speak much on his defense, but his defense kind of speaks for itself. You know, it's a match made, I don't know about in heaven, but it's a match made not in purgatory. It's one step above purgatory. So big on that. Real quick, his defense, what is it about? The interior defense is great, but his perimeter defense, that would give a new element than what the Suns have at their center position.
Yeah, look at everything that Oso provided in short-term minutes. Imagine that being more sustained. Imagine that being more experienced. Imagine that having more length and athleticism. That's everything that you get from Nic Claxton. He can go and guard a James Harden to start a possession. We've seen him do that before. We've seen the Nets put him on Luka Doncic to start a possession. Now, obviously, he's not going to go out and lock them up per se, but the scheme versatility that gives you. Because now when Harden or Luka gets that screen, instead of getting switched to a center, you're switching into a guard or a wing that you might prefer to have that matchup. That level of scheme versatility is nuanced that the Suns did not have last season. Having that in your wheelhouse to cycle through over the course of a game and playoff series to come, that's what you need for your defense to be successful.